introduce you to Luke. Luke is from Multiply Me, and Luke is going to explain to you what his business is and where it started. So I'm not going to steal his thunder, but Luke and I met through a mutual colleague. And as I said before, anyone that meets Luke is very empowered by his story and his knowledge and understanding through, I guess, learning through the trials. Hey, Luke, you've learned a lot through those experiences that has enabled him to create an incredible business, which he's going to share with you as well, to empower business owners to be more productive and to reduce risk and to fast track communication with the team in order to minimize those risks and costs and things like that. So he's going to share with us some tips around that and how it applies in terms of his business. And of course, if you've got any questions, I'm going to be moderating here. I'm going to jump in every now and then with Luke, but if you've got a question, by all means, jump in or pop it in the chat and I'll get it to Luke as well. But over to you, Luke. I'm going to handball over to you. If I had a mic, I'd pass it over.
Thank you, Barbara. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Hey, can I ask to start with, could I just learn a little bit about everybody that's in the chat? We've got business owners. How many people do they have in their business? Could I just get a little bit of that put into the chat first?
Cool. Well, while they're typing away, we can...
Yep, as you're typing away, I can tell you a little bit about my story. So I've been in construction for 25 years, and during that, so I started as a carpenter, and I actually had a little fall off a scaffold one day, off a roof one day. And I realized that there was a need for a better roof edge protection system to stop guys falling off roofs. So I went into a new business called Edge Deck Scaffold. I invented and designed a new type of scaffold system. And I really wanted to make an impact in safety and help young apprentices or anyone in construction just be better, safer on roofs. So I was able to invent, design, and patent as well. We work cover registered this scaffold system, and I commercialized this system back in 2009. And then 2 years later, I had moved. So I was in central west New South Wales, a place called Mudgee. We moved the business down to Melbourne to expand it because it was going to work much better in a metropolitan area. And within 2 years, I had 25 guys, and I just sold my first franchise. So that first 2 years was so much learning, scaling, growing, and a lot of that came, growing pains came with that. So one of the biggest things that I always experience, and I do a little bit of business coaching now as well, or mindset coaching, and one of the biggest things that people struggle with, and I did as well, was just pressure on my time. Pressure to be everywhere, to have all the answers, to be asking all the right questions, and always just be in front of the eight ball, always being predicting what's happening in your business, and not so much in financial area, but just, burnout of guys, new jobs coming. There's so much that you need to predict in your business to be able to run a successful business. And with that sale of our first franchise 2 years in, we were growing so fast. So I've had a lot of experience in putting training programs together, and then understanding how to deliver that training so it lands really well with the type of people I was training, and we're getting good results from that. All of my training, unfortunately, back then was all manual. I was putting all my guys into the work shed. We'd sit around in a big circle. I'd offer my information. We'd have notes and toolbox talks, and everyone would sign off at the end of the day. And we had well-structured training that was also supported by a third-party trainer. So we would use stuff from inside the business, the scaffold, and we'd just act out how those procedures went. So that was something I put a lot of focus on. Then 4 years ago, I actually sold all of the scaffold business, the franchises and everything to patents. And what I wanted to do was go back and look at how I could have helped myself. How could I have helped a growing business that was scaling and they had time pressure? And I really wanted to look into video training and see if I could put together a platform somewhere to store all the videos, support and workshops on how to make the videos, because a lot of people know that we need to go into video training, but actually producing the video training and what to say, making sure it's positive and making sure it's done well is what stopped people from going forward into video training. And it's a real blocker. Most people we talk to, like I said, they've considered it. They just didn't know where to start. And I was the same. So the business we have now is called Multiply Me. And that's exactly what I wanted to do when I was running my business. I just needed more of me. And I said it on many occasions, if I could just have another me, I could get that done. And that's really where this whole concept has come from. So the idea of multiplying yourself into a digital self or a digital asset is what we help business owners do. So I want to talk about responsive training at a customer that we've just started working with. And it really highlights how you can use video to solve so many different problems. You know, you might be solving an initial situation, but it has so many domino effects that once you make the choice to create video training, and I'll illustrate that now. So I will give you a quick video as well of a guy named Matthew from OnPoint Insulation and his story, but I'll explain first and then we'll listen to him. So he has a volume builder that he works for. So OnPoint here, they're an insulation company. They have contractors, about 10 contractors. And OnPoint sends these guys out to different building sites. Now, on one of these building sites over a particular weekend, a delivery of sand came in. The truck delivered the sand and actually hit the scaffold and made it very unsafe. And on the Monday morning, OnPoint sent contractors out to this building site. They went in through the gates, up onto the scaffold, and the scaffold fell. The guys had to jump off, and it was a very serious near miss. Now, no one was hurt, but there still needs to be an incident report here. The volume builder had gone out to the site and put on a no entry sign on the site fence, and also removed what's called a green scaffold tag from the scaffold, meaning that the tag wasn't tagged. Sorry, the scaffold wasn't tagged and it wasn't safe. The contractors here, they didn't know. They had to look for a no entry sign on the building site because most building sites have a no entry sign on them anyway. And then they didn't know that they had to look for the green scaffold tag. So there was a communication breakdown. And sometimes the videos that we help business owners make are just basic common sense stuff. We're not talking about extravagant training programs all the time. Some of them can be very simple, repetitive training that you can just forget to tell people. So we often get caught on the bigger stuff and the little stuff falls through the cracks. So Matt came to us and said, I need a solution to stop this ever happening in the future. The volume builder has said, I need to prove to them how this will never happen ever again and how I've mitigated this risk. So I said, grab your phone. Matthew from OnPoint went out to the building site. He knows what he needs to look for. So I said, grab your phone, go out to the building site and record yourself explaining to the camera what it is that you want your guys to do when they turn up on site. And then the scaffold tag and explain whatever it is they need to do. He said, fine, I can do that in 15 minutes. So 15 minutes later, he has a video with him explaining to his phone that we then transformed into what we call a digital asset. So a digital asset is a video that we get from one of our members or our customers. And then we put a sign-on, sign-off page, the ability to have questions and feedback. And then we link it to the platform, our learning management system that we have. So every time someone goes through one of these digital assets, the information, the critical training data goes back into the platform. Now, the day that we launched this video was really exciting. In 10 minutes, we sent out the digital asset to 10 contractors. In 10 minutes, everyone had watched the 3 videos and answered, no, I don't have any more questions. And we got a couple of feedback saying, can we train like this all the time? This is much better than having to come to the yard and listen and lose productive time. So there was a lot of advantages there and the guys loved it. Then what happened is OnPoint was able to show the volume builder, this is how we're going to move forward. When we need to train our guys, this is how they will be trained. So we sent the digital asset to the volume builder. They did the training and they came back with a very exciting response to Matt, which you'll see in the video. So from that one video, 15 minutes to make it, the contractors all loved it. And the principal builder loved it as well. So I'm going to drop you into the video. I'll just share this with you, and you can hear from Matt. Can you just let me share, please?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'll give you the options now. Okay, cool. You should be able to do it now, Luke.
Yeah. All right, you guys can see that page there, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, just let me know you can hear the audio too.
There was an actual major near miss on a very big volume builder site that we worked for. What happened was a truck delivering sand that hit the scaffold that was at the front of the building site, and it actually beat the scaffold and the whole assembly. Now, when our contractors got to the site, they entered the site, but there's no good clear communication of what happened. So
what was the issue? You said your contractors went on site. What actually happened?
There was hazard identification was the issue, and they weren't trained to look for the hazard identification, which we did in our video with you.
And then through the video you made, it was an awareness video to let your guys know that when they enter these particular sites, what to look for. Is that right?
Yeah. So what to look for? So damaged scaffold was one. Yeah. The other one was the safety tag. The safety tag was actually removed. There's a scaffold tag that shows that it's currently up to date and compliant. Without that tag, it's not compliant. And we needed to communicate that to our team.
The volume builder said to you, how are you going to prevent this from happening again? And then that's when you engaged us to go and make the video. And you took that back to the volume builder. What did they say?
Unbelievably impressed.
Do you feel like once you'd explained what had gone wrong and what had to happen, guys could receive that really well in that video? Did they understand through the video? Yep.
Yeah, they answered really well because we had a questionnaire at the end of the video to make sure we understood.
Did you text message or did you WhatsApp, or how do you communicate your videos to you guys?
Yeah, so with all our communications done by WhatsApp, so it was quite simple. We just linked it with sent me to all of the contractors, and within 5-10 minutes they'd already done basically what would have taken us a few hours and a lot of effort. It was just such a good breath of fresh air, really, when we could have a toolbox that was meaningful and effective done just from your smartphone.
Like if you were to hold a physical toolbox talk in your factory the day after an incident or a near miss, there would be 9 contractors had to travel from wherever they are, come into your workshop at 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, have a half an hour meeting, and then get on the road and get out to site. And potentially they wouldn't get back to site until 9, 10 o'clock with traffic in Melbourne.
Absolutely right. And it was actually quite astonishing when you looked at it that way, because the problem is we've got our central hub here, our office and warehouse, where all across Melbourne, all our contractors have got jobs across all the other sections of Melbourne. To orchestrate a toolbox talk takes potentially about 3 productive hours out of each person's day when you've got 10 workers. That's 30 hours of productive time lost. And you can't regain it. And then basically to make up time, the end factor is you could lead to more problems because people are rushing. It's actually quite an interesting metric. The guys loved it.
So a simple video saved Matthew many phone calls.
Cool. Can you hear me there, Barbara?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear, Luke.
Great. So that's a really good insight to how Matt was able to use that. And now he's gone on to make more videos, and he's really raised his profile with some of the bigger builders that he's working with about how he's onboarding new contractors and making sure everyone has the same clear, consistent communication. It's really exciting. Now, I want to move on to a time of my life where I learnt how important automated documentation is. Unfortunately, through the 10 years of running the scaffold business that I had, I was a director of the company that had 2 serious accidents. One, my good friends had a broken back, who had a fall, and another man was electrocuted on the scaffold. So I got to see firsthand how an accident investigation unfolds, a serious accident investigation. And I learnt the importance of having everything documented. And when you're, again, running a fast business, you don't have time to do everything that you want to do. Sometimes even the documentation gets blurred, or it's not as crisp as you would like it to be. So having an automated documentation system that is just clear cut it's imperative for a business, especially if you're in high risk or construction or something like that, where there is consequences. Now, a lot of training systems that I've seen over my time focus on when the training was delivered, so documenting that it was delivered and documenting that it was finished. So that gives the business accountability. You can prove that you've trained this person on a particular thing. Now, I see that as a two-pronged approach, and I see a couple of weak links there where with the Multiply Me system, we have something called the IDA mindset, which is the IDDR mindset. And the first is I, which is identify. Identifying training opportunities continuously has to happen. Developing training content that needs to be delivered, and then delivering, and then documenting, and then reviewing. Now that circle of life is what I found is what investigators are looking for. And it's also a proactive circle of life to deflect anything that could happen in your business. And what we place a lot of focus on is the identify and the develop. And we turn this into a collaborative space where everybody in your business has an app for the Multiply Me platform, and they can submit what we call IDOPs, so identified opportunities. Now, we call them opportunities because we don't want to be training in a reaction basis. We don't want something to go wrong and then have to repair. So the proactive nature, if everybody in your business, think of this, if everyone had the ability or the voice to submit a training opportunity on a place they need training, a place they see where there's a risk, or a place they see a high work standard being achieved by someone in the business. And that could also be a training opportunity where they want to amplify the high work standard. So when you start to open up the floor to everyone in your business to say, we want to hear what your IDOPs are, give us suggestions. And then the business has so many eyes within the business. And quite often you guys would have heard that people out on the floor or out on the field have a common, there's a common thing I've heard, and it's the guys upstairs don't even know what we do out here. So there is, in some businesses, quite a disconnect or a divide between what's actually happening in the field and the way that programs and safety is actually implemented. A lot of guys say that it's not actually achievable to do, the way we're being told to do it. So that's also a bridge here that can be crossed and can unite businesses. And we're seeing that happening now with apprentices and people that are new to a business who are able to submit a training opportunity. And when everyone in your business has a voice, that also creates leadership and culture. And I'm sure everyone here has experienced it. When you have produced something yourself, a training program or a new spreadsheet, and you use it and you see how well it works, it makes you feel good. Because you were the one who designed it, invented it, and then now it's working. So when people in the field can also be part of that identification and development process, it also invites them into being, really proactive in using the systems that have been created. So we really focus on the I and the D. What I'm going to do is drop you into another 2-minute recording. And it's welcome to the Multiply Me dashboard. This is what our members would get when they sign up with us. And it's just a quick look around the features and how it navigates. And you'll also see that there's the identify and the develop tab in there. So we'll have a quick look.
And Luke, after you've shown us that, I've got some questions for you too.
Very good.
Hey guys, Luke here from Multiply Me. I'm sitting out in the garden today and I wanted to give you a warm welcome to your new company account master dashboard. This is probably the first time you've had a look at it. So what I'm going to do shortly is take you on a Loom
recording video through your dashboard so you can see where all the features are and where you find your training and all that sort of thing. So let's dive straight in and take a look. Hey guys, Luke here from Multiply Me. Today we're going to have a look around your new company account. This is the master account that will be able to invite members and create groups and have all the permissions. So let's jump in and have a look. I'll just move my little face down there out of the way. So this is your dashboard. This is where you see all of your live activity. On the left-hand side, you'll see a menu, overview, identify. Identify is the area where everyone can identify training opportunities in your company. You can do them as the account holder, and people who are your members can also submit training opportunities or identify training opportunities. We call them IDOPs. Once they're identified, they can be moved through into a tab called Develop, which you can explore. And then in your library, this is where your completed digital assets will be. After you've identified them, developed them, then you've collaborated with our editing service, and they land in here as your digital assets. So this is similar to a YouTube library, but much more powerful because it's tracking everyone who's going through your training, when they did it, and how many times. We have a reports page, and down the bottom, let's move my face again. And down the bottom, we've got manage groups and manage members. This is where you can set up different groups inside your business, and a group can be a department or a different building site. It's however you want to set up your account, and then you can assign members, or you can add your members and then assign them to different groups. So a lot of functionality in there. Come over here to your profile. So in your personal profile, you'll see your profile settings, but if you scroll down, you'll also see your training history. Now this will include your upcoming training, which you can see here, and then your completed training. So if you need to move through to one of your upcoming training digital assets, you'll go to the three dots and you'll see go to digital asset. You'll click that, you'll drop straight into the training. When you're finished, it will go into your completed training. Now, you as the master business account holder, you'll have your own business profile as well. In here, you can manage your settings and obviously upload a company profile photo. So that is a quick look around your master company account holder for Multiply Me. Enjoy, guys. There's lots of really cool things you can do in here. And imagine every time you send out one of these digital assets that you are saving time, making money, and you're supporting your people. Hey guys, Luke here from Multiply. Cool, so that gives you a good look around the dashboard. And look, the best way to describe what we do, because we feel like we're the only people in Australia who actually offer this service. So we've had a good look around and we can't find anyone else offering something exactly the same. So to have our own custom platform and a service in behind it that helps people do the transformation from manual training and explaining into the videos, we do feel like we're one of the only in Australia. So we're a video learning management system. You had a few questions there, Barbara?
Sorry, Ben made a comment. I'll read it out to you. He said, I'm in the pharmaceutical industry, leading brands, and some work advising health tech startups. Training communication via video is still not well practiced in our industry, strangely, he said. These principles are very relevant, one to many. So I guess my question based on Ben's comment is, if people are proactive and see the opportunity of learning or improvement, that's great. But what about those that are resistant to change or resistant to adopting something new or adopting this new method of learning? What would your advice be in terms of, and I can imagine in the construction industry, there's going to be those kind of people.
Yes, look, there is definitely a resistance to change. And it's actually really interesting, Barbara, because video training is like 20 years old. Some of the first people to introduce it were Amazon and Microsoft. And when they did introduce it, they cut their training by up to 50%. And that was when they first introduced it, or their training costs. So I can't imagine what they've been able to do from there. But we also find, was it Ben that asked that question?
Yeah, Ben made a
Yeah,
comment.
Ben,
Yeah.
we also find the same thing. There is a real resistance to change. And once you've been exposed to video training and you see the exponential results that can be achieved there, it's really bizarre that we've got people in business who, you know, they know their numbers, they're smart, they've built their business, but still are not ready to commit. What we have found is that it's the gap between, I'd like to do that and that's the result that I want there. It's that gap in the middle. And we identified that really early on. It was like, most people want to do this, but they just don't know how to get there. So that's why we put the service in behind what we do, to really be able to put a structure in place and even just show them a demo and some sort of situation in their business. So if Ben's question was, how do we navigate that? It has been through doing a demonstration with the actual customer. And in that demonstration, we grab a real life situation from their business. We monetize it, which always opens their eyes to the amount of time that the repetitive training and explaining is costing their business. And that is usually the key for when people go, okay, I need to look at this more seriously. So presenting it in a, you know, how much money could be saved, and then providing a strategy to say, this is where you are, this is where you need to get to. And it's not about doing it all in one go either. Like a transformation like this can take a while, and it doesn't have to, but it can if someone is resistant to change. But the way we've set ourselves up as well, Ben, is to do a user-generated model. I just noticed your dog walking past there.
Yeah.
So one of the other resistance is cost. And traditional training has always been done with professional videographers. So there's organisation of scripts, a particular day, you're taking people off-site or away from their productive hours, and you're creating training. And the biggest thing that people get stuck on is, I just want it to be perfect. So that wanting it to be perfect is also another barrier that people just say, we don't know how to get there, we're too busy. And that's what we've navigated now with our user-generated model. A lot of internal training, especially screenshots, as you've seen there before, I just used Loom. The way that we make our video is exactly how we teach other people. We're not here producing Hollywood movies, and we're keeping them very real, produced from inside the business with the people who have with the knowledge. So a lot of our stuff isn't scripted. It's put together with the person in the business who knows the process and is sick of training and explaining it to other people. So yeah, we definitely, I hear what you're saying about those barriers. If you had someone that you were trying to bring across to digital training, I think that we could help in that situation by doing one of those demonstrations. That has definitely been the biggest lever that we've seen. Does that answer your question?
Hopefully, Ben, does that answer your question?
It does. It also opens up a world of thought around office onboarding. I mean, I know you're talking about this for small business, but even in large corporates, how to swipe in, how to find the car park.
Yes.
Just the most basic things could be broken down so that people that don't have to do it every single time someone starts.
Yeah.
I can see the application in many purposes, even in large organizations. But for small business, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're working with a variety of different businesses at the moment. Some of them have a national footprint with hundreds of employees, and some are small businesses. So it does apply to any business. And the onboarding, funnily enough, you mentioned that the onboarding is now the most requested video that we're looking at. With what COVID has done to us, it's exposed that there was possible faults in our onboarding, or it wasn't even a very good onboarding system. And people are now reaching out to say, how do we systemize this onboarding? Because we're onboarding faster than we ever were before. And what you said about the parking, that's something that we've been talking about as well. When you have somebody new coming to your business, they're most likely suffering some sort of anxiety. And even just that parking video on, this is where you'll park, this is where you enter the business, and this is where we have lunch. Those particular videos can reduce someone's anxiety by so many different levels and have them more productive and open on that first day. I'm glad you mentioned that, Ben. It's something we seen the other day, we put together a video that was a selfie video passed around a business, like passed around the employees. And they were saying, hey, hey, Ben, can't wait to see you next week. And it went around the whole room. And then they sent that to the new employee before they'd even got to the business as part of their onboarding. And that was, again, to create culture and create, hey, we want to see you here, as opposed to you rock up on your first day and, be very closed, because that's how it's been for a lot of years. And most
I've got to say that the cost of the, I'd say the senior execs in their onboarding every single time someone starts is quite large.
Yes, it is. Yeah, when we monetize those situations, if you've got big corporations and you're talking hundreds of employees, those costs can go into the six figures very quickly, that you're just repetitively training. So, yeah, if you want to talk more about that, Ben, stay on after the chat and we can really get right into that if you want to.
Thank you.
Any other questions there at the moment, Barbara?
No, that was the main one, but a question that I wanted to ask you as well, which you may, and if you're going to cover it in the rest of what you're talking about, that's fine. But Ben raised a good point, is about the practical application in other industry. So I know that your background's in construction, but obviously the real benefit with this too is people that are working quite a big distance from where a central base might be, and so there's great benefit in crossing a big divide across a range of industries, really, isn't it, in terms of getting some information?
I can expose that. Like, I use this system myself. I've created my own. There's 3 videos that I send out to everyone that starts work with Multiply Me. The videos are my values and my beliefs. The 3 things that I call them the 3 deal breakers, things that I would like not to see happen, and the 8 things that make me happy. And it's very much about me. The business is about working with the director of that business. We're only a small company at the moment. So I made those 3 videos while I was sitting in the park one day in about 15 minutes. I have my values and my beliefs written out on a 1-pager. So I just held that page with me and I talked to my camera. And I said, hey guys, I just want to have a conversation with you. You'll be joining Multiply Me shortly. And I just want to, align our values and make sure that we're a good fit. Now, what I see is that type of video, it could either deflect someone away, which would mean they don't align with your company, which is fantastic, because you just saved yourself 3 months worth of onboarding, training, and then them leaving. And in the same sentence, it will attract others to your business or your job role to say, hey, I really like this guy, I like this business, and I really value that he's told me what the business is all about and what makes him happy. The first thing in my video about what makes me happy in my business is them being happy being here. So the things in that video are not all about me, they're about what makes the whole circle work. So that's been really effective, and I've sent that to people all over Australia, and one of our editors is in the US, so he has seen those as well, and I've been able to get that message across. That was something I learned in my business, was it's just very valued to be able to get these ground foundation rules or culture set before anyone starts. It just sets a really good foundation. And the good thing is that if things start to come out of sync, or that I've got someone else that's going to be onboarded, I just press the button and send the video again. And it's not to say, I will outline that it's not to say that I just send videos to everywhere and I don't talk to anyone, because I still value personal connection and I love getting in the room with people. So it's not to wipe out all personal connection, but I'm sure everyone understands. It's just to be able to be that repetitive, repetitive is the wrong word, but something that you can deliver on a regular basis, so you're not having to go over and over it. Can I go on from there, Barbara?
Of course, Luke. Yep.
Yeah,
no
cool.
more questions.
That's right. I just wasn't sure if there's anything else. So something that we get asked a lot is, what is the best video to make? Now, Ben raised a good point. Onboarding videos are amazing, but my answer is always the video that actually gets made. Because of the barriers that people feel to get into this, that if you're not making video training, I believe that you're falling further behind. And the others that are moving to streamlined training, because our businesses are only as strong as the people that work in them. You can't lead anyone if you don't have anyone working for you. So having these training systemized approaches that can help you get someone from walking in your door to be a valuable asset in your business and also understand the culture and how everyone's thinking. If you can remove that cost of like a 2-week or a 1-month learning where someone's integrating, and maybe bring it down to a couple of days, that is a significant step forward in a business. Now, something, actually, I'll just raise this now as well. So people also ask, or I advise actually, that the most important thing when you're making a training video, again, it used to be, or it was seen to be, that you delivered information and you told someone, do this, do this, do this, and that's how it's done. That is not how we make videos. We really like to have a positive, clear message with a bit of fun. And you would have noticed even in my videos that we just watched, if I stumble or miss a word, I leave that in there because I want to be real and authentic. And I feel like that creates like a culture that we're all in this together. I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, but this is how I would talk to you in a normal setting. So I don't mind people leaving their stumbles in their videos as well, because it can offer a little bit of depth to the video and that we're all human. So it's quite exciting to do it that way. But there's something that I've come to realize, that making a training video is not only about delivering the information, it is about influencing the viewer to make the right decision when it's their time to do that process without you there. So that word influence, influencing people to make the right decision, is what we focus on when we're building a video. And that takes away a lot of the focus from, how professional it needs to be and that sort of thing. It's about, how do we influence this person? How do we make them feel comfortable? How do we give them the best look at what this situation is going to be like when it's their time to do it? And then have that person make the right decision. Now, that's the most important thing that we see in the videos. I'm going to share another story with you. This is another small business that we work with, but they do use a large number of labour hire. So it's called Mace Demolition. One particular job they do is night strip outs on Westfield shopping centres. So if a shop goes broke or needs to be refurbished, these guys come in, they strip out the shop during the night because that's when the store is shut. And what was happening is Ryan from Mace Demolition, he hires in a group of labour hire and he has to train them with exactly the same pre-start meeting every night that he does one of these. Now that was taxing his time himself. He was starting to miss things because he was so used to giving the speech that there were small things that were getting missed. And there was 3 things that were happening in his business that were causing him a lot of loss in time and money. And his labour hire guys were knocking the sprinklers at the top of the buildings, and actually on one occasion had set off the fire alarms, and the water came out and flooded 3 or 4 shops. And it was a catastrophe that took a long time to clean up, damaged reputation, caused stress. Ryan was actually away from Sydney. So his business is in Sydney, but he was actually away from Sydney at that actual time. So he was called away from he was on a holiday. So he came back from his holiday, had to mop up the mess. So the domino effect of spot fires in our business can go well beyond the actual event, as I'm sure we're all aware of. So Ryan came to us and said, I'm spending a lot of time training and explaining, and these are the 3 things that are going on. Fire sprinklers are costing me tens of thousands of dollars when they go off. There was scratches on the floors, taking equipment from the shop to a bin where they were loaded. And there were some scratches on the elevator shafts where they were pushing bins inside the elevators going down to a dock and then removing the equipment. So again, I said to him, if these are the repetitive things that you need to do, please make a video, explain to your phone just exactly what it is that you want to say. And then we'll put a few pictures in of the scratches, the possible things to create awareness that can happen. And he created these videos straight from his phone, sitting in the front seat of his truck. And then we turned them into the digital assets. We did some editing to them. And I'm going to play you a video now of what happened after we sent these videos out. I'll share that with you now. So this is a very quick video, just a minute long.
The last 2 weeks, I had a night job.
Yeah.
At Westfield, but it was probably 7 nights all up, or eight nights all up. But I had literally almost a different guy every day.
Yeah.
Just in and out with these labourers because they're hard to keep. And man, it saved me so much time. Like I didn't have to go there. Normally, I pretty much let my brother and Ricky run the jobs. I just little bits and pieces here and there, just watch the video.
I love hearing this.
Not only that, the labour hire company now, because I just get them to do it, just get them to send the boys the videos.
Okay.
Now, when I organise a labour for a Westfield job or a night job or something like that, I'll say, yep, labour organised, and I've sent him these 3 videos.
Oh, the labour hire company is sending the videos for you.
Sending some videos to them as well. So they're,
Oh, sweet.
you know, so they know that.
So Ryan was actually able to, so I should have told you something before that, was Ryan had resided to the fact that he would have to be on every night demolition job because he was too worried about something going wrong. And that's when we said, let's try these videos. And at the start of that video, he said that he doesn't even go to these night jobs anymore. Just through creating awareness and being able to have that consistent training and explaining that's given to these new guys, he's reduced his stress, he's taken the ceiling away from his business, and now he's off at night resting up so he can go and do other jobs the next day. It really has opened up so much potential for his business. And you can see in his demeanor, he's visually happy that that will change his business. And again, speaking to Ben's point earlier, Ryan was the same. He thought, how much difference could videos make? And the results that we are seeing is that exponential results. And it's really exciting for the people that we're working with. You got any questions there or anything else come through?
No, we haven't looked, but one point that what's really obvious to me in that story, and I remember you saying this as well, that was a fairly new problem with the sprinklers that was specific to that site. So it wasn't like every building, every location is going to be the same. So what I find really interesting about this method is that if something pops up that's like COVID, for example, and things are changing with COVID all the time in terms of practice and protocols or process and procedures. If something pops up that you're able to get that information out to people en masse really quickly about something that's just come up or something that's very specific or something that needs to be implemented. And Ben's example too, like with parking, maybe there's works happening in the parking lot and you have to direct people to go a different way just for it suddenly come up and it's a short period of time, but it's a great way to get information out really quickly to people.
It is. Yeah, it's interesting. I went to drop my car off to a Mazda dealership the other day. And when I got to the front gate, it was actually shut off because there was construction going on inside the car park. So I drove around, couldn't really find where to park. I didn't know how to enter the building. And I parked somewhere else, walked in, asked them, and they said, oh, there's another access around the back. So it took me at least 25 minutes to get in there. And I was also feeling like, who's looking at me? Am I going to have a crash here? Where am I supposed to go? So I actually made some videos while I was there of other cars coming up to the entry, not knowing where to go. And I was watching them go and park somewhere else. So what you just said, I seen that happen in front of me the other day. And I thought, out of customer experience, if I had a video sent to me as I booked in my car for the service, if I had a video sent to me to say, hey, we've got a couple of things changed on the entry here. This is how we'd like you to enter the building today. I would have felt amazing and I would have remembered that service. and not had to have gone through the, the dissatisfaction and the embarrassment of not knowing where to go. So yeah, you can be used for, ad hoc, swift type things that are changing, or they can be long-standing procedures that, everyone that comes to your company, like an onboarding, has to go through.
I've got another question for you, Luke. Do you find that this method also addresses those different learning styles? So, for example, we've all had those situations where you say, I've told them over and over and over and they just don't get it, or I've shown them but they're not getting it. So I can imagine that this would be a great way to address. You can use maps, you can use the video, you've got someone talking. It kind of appeals to all those different learning styles. So you jump those hurdles as well.
It does, 100%. You've hit the nail on the head. It address, especially my background is construction, we all know that, but in construction, and I'm one of them, when I started out, I didn't want to read a 50-page safety induction pack so I could go and work on a building site, because I wasn't even able to read it, to be honest. So being able to deliver this with visual and written content, there's something that we see is that, that I've said in the past, is that it gives the viewer the greatest experience of actually not doing the situation, but they can see it. They might see how to hold a particular thing, how to stand, how to enter a building. There's so much that you can deliver through these videos. So yeah, they definitely give a lot more support to the person within the business that needs that information. I've seen a question pop up there.
Sorry, I'll read it to you, Luke, so it makes it easier for you. Rosemary said, hi, Luke, I'm currently building a learning platform for health and safety training. Phase 2 is the HR onboarding. The reason I'm doing this is exactly what you were talking about. I work with mostly SMEs, and a lot of time is taken with the bare basics of safety, and we don't get into bigger issues. Totally agree with keeping it real.
That's good. Okay. That's that's good support. Thank you. Who was that from, Connie?
That was from Rosemary. That one.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Yeah, Connie just was sympathising with you in terms of the car, finding somewhere to go with the car. She said, so it would have been good if she'd had a video as a client. She would have loved it, and she loved that idea, is what she was saying. Yeah.
It's interesting, Connie. We started working with someone who. Actually, I can say we started working with Bark and Bath, who was a dog grooming company out in Alice Springs. And when we went into she took a workshop with us, which is creating 10 videos, 2 are professional videos and 8 are user-generated videos. So we don't only do user-generated, we have the ability to do professional as well. And most of our customers or our members start with a workshop where we go in, we extract 10 of the best videos that will make an impact in the business. And usually in those workshops, the videos we come up with are very different to the videos that the person might have been thinking of. And in this case, the business owner, or Crystal, wasn't even sure how she would come up with 10 videos. Halfway through, she couldn't work out how she could stay under 50. So there was a lot of scope. But 2 of the videos that we came up with was what someone needs to do when they bring their dog to Bark and Bath, which is a pet grooming and is it a daycare as well for pets. So one of her biggest problems was when people bring the dogs in, they kind of don't really know where to stand. The dog might be near other dogs, so it creates problems. And getting the dogs together can obviously start, fights or barks or all sorts of things. So she said it would be great, and she hadn't thought of this beforehand, but it would be great if I could just have this beautiful little explainer that I could send to my customers when they book their dog in to say, hey guys, can't wait to have your dog here. This is how I'd like you to bring the dog in. This is where he goes first, and then we'll give him a cuddle and all this sort of stuff. So that was one of her main things that she was dealing with every day, having to just let people know how to walk into the building and where their dog should go. So that does 2 things. It stops her from having to talk about it every day, and it supports the customer. So then we went on to think about, okay, what's the next video that we could send to the customer? So then we looked at when the customer leaves, there was another video to say, we've had your dog for the day. Here's a few tips that you could do with your dog until you see us next time. So we actually went into a real customer service role with some of her videos. So we also spoke with a pool company recently, and we were talking about doing customer service videos with them as well. And that was, when we come and clean your pool, here's a video to say, thanks for the work. We loved cleaning your pool today, and here's 5 things you can do to keep your pool in better health. So we're not only creating videos for an internal solutions here. You can use these to go outside your business, and they still can be user generated because they still have that same authenticity and the way that they can connect to each customer. So that's really exciting as well. I mean, the possibilities of creating videos are endless. And that's what happens in our workshops, is when people get in, they have a chat with us, we have some really good strategies and a really fun workshop put together that just starts to pull apart where key videos could fit in to make a real impact. Because we want those first 10 videos to make a quantum leap in the business, to really give the business owner back a heap of time and money and reduce the risks. Do you have any questions there, Barbara?
No, there's no, sorry, just getting myself off mute. No, there's no more questions at this point, Luke.
I hope all that makes sense. And now, if anyone wants to stay on and ask some questions one-on-one, I'm happy to hang around and listen to those and answer. And that's all I had to deliver today. So if anyone's interested in working with us, obviously we're always here for that too. You can get in touch with us. We can put a website and an email and phone number into the chat, and obviously through Barbara as well. If you do want to find out some more about us and you're a friend of Barbara's, have a chat with her first.
Simone's just dropped it in there.
I will just say as well, like when we met Barbara, we knew that we were working on the same vision. Barbara's been in unlocking time and money for business owners, and really that, she calls herself the time tamer, which is a fantastic slogan. And we are working on exactly the same thing, but from a very different angle. And when we met Barbara, she said, look, I've been advising people for years to go to video training, and you're the piece of the puzzle there that can really help, that resistance, which is probably what you found a little bit too, Barbara, through your years, that people want to do this, but it's how do I get started? So we are really the ignition button there. If somebody wants to get started, let's jump into a chat and just find out what the business is and where we can add value. So, and that chat is always, that's just a free chat, that we just want to see that we align and we can add value, and we can offer some strategies and information in that meeting as well.
Luke, I've got a quick question for you, just while it might prompt some others to ask questions as well. So you were talking about in terms of the external practice as well with customers. Does that mean with those videos that you would give customers some kind of login access to your platform, or would you just send the videos out to them in another way?
Good question. So from the platform, there's 2 ways to do it. You generally have a login. So for members or contractors or staff or employees, they get a login. They'll get sent an email, they sign up to an account, and then you can assign videos to them. And then you can see when it's been watched and all that sort of thing. If you want to just send a video to somebody who's not a member, you can do that also. And it just sends the link to them. You can send it via text message or email or however you communicate. They will open it up and it will look like a branded training or like a little training video, very much like a YouTube video where, there's an intro, there's a bit of graphic design down, a little bit of fun. They'll just sign on to the video, they'll watch the video, and then they'll just say, yep, I've seen it. And they may even be a chance to give feedback as well. Those results will still go back into the dashboard, but they don't have to be a member. The only thing with that, which I will raise, that if you share that link with someone outside your business, that there's no protection on whether that video goes any further. So it's like any link that you share with somebody, they could unshare it. So it's whether or not you want it to be private, or whether it doesn't really matter. A lot of those videos are not going to matter if they're shared. It would only do good things for the business.
And I know there's a few people watching live and who will also be watching the recording who are in a consultancy space. So I can imagine this would be great, like if you're a coach or a consultant and you want to prime your client to be ready to do work with you. This is another way where you could send stuff out and say, okay, please, the onboarding process just for a client to be able to be ready to start doing business with you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Just Connie does have her hand up. So
sorry, Connie, I just saw that.
Sorry, can you hear me okay?
We can, Connie.
Hey, Connie.
Oh, awesome. I can use Zoom. This is a new win for me. Barb actually just started asking the question that I had, which was, is this something that we can refer on to our clients? Because I've got a civil construction company I'm working with and they're having significant issues with remote workers and vehicle issues and safety issues. So I'd be really keen more about sharing this because I'm only a small business. So
yeah.
I've already got the answer, I guess.
Yes, no, definitely. We'd be more than happy to, if you want to put together a chat where we can talk to the business, or we can just talk to you a little bit more about it, Connie. And 100% refer it on. We're actually working with a lot of third-party safety consultants and business systemization people, and they have seen, the value in what we do and are also referring it on. So 100%, please do that.
And I guess too, Connie, I hope you don't mind me saying, but Connie works in that space too, where she's often writing procedures. So I guess this can go hand in hand really, really well. So there will be times where you need the documentation, you need those written things, but this would be a lovely complement to expand on that experience for the absorption of information.
Yeah, definitely. Look, we are a video learning management system, but within the digital asset that we create, you can have static documents. So you can have a page where it says they sign on and it goes into the training and it might say, please read the below document. It might be a 5-page document where they do read it and they have to click to say, yes, I've read it. And then there could be a video or the video could be in front of it, just introducing the document. So you can make the system more streamlined and like it's being facilitated by a person, which is, so please understand that you can definitely put in static documents. You can put in, we had an infection control policy that we did a demo for, and we had links across to the Australian government website where they had to fill out COVID forms as well. So once you go into the digital asset, we can also instruct people to go out to different websites, click on a link, read something, come back and say, yes, I've understood. So they're really flexible and there's a lot of different moving parts that you can put in the video. It doesn't all have to be all spoken like that. But we're working with a rental provider at the moment that do forklifts and access equipment, and they've got 5 businesses around Australia, a couple of hundred employees, and they have a process where when you go to get onto one of their machines, say in a remote location or in a mine or something like that, is that they scan a QR code on the machine, and then they have to submit information with their license credentials. They have to do a walk around the actual machine and check for oil leaks and particular things. And then they have to submit to say, or answer questions to say, here's my license, none of those things, there's no oil leaks, there's no water leaks. So then the company will immobilize the machine so the machine can actually be started. So it's a technology where the whole fleet can actually be, an operator can jump on it and start doing their own check and get on without anyone having to be there. Now, what was happening is that process was so clunky to get through that the operators were getting stuck. It's like, okay, what do I do now? So we helped that company put in video, little talking video pieces to actually help someone navigate through the system. And it just softened the system and made it easier for someone to get through. And if they were stuck on a certain page, they could just click a video and it would show them. And that helped that there wasn't just documents and forms to fill out. There was someone in there saying, hey, on the next page, this is what you're going to have to do. It's going to look like this, and it can give them a screenshot of what's about to happen. And then when someone gets to the page, they've already had an experience of being there, so they navigate through with much more ease and, with less mistakes as well. So that's something that we've worked on as well. So that wasn't a full video system. We just slotted videos in to be the support on the way through a static system.
Brilliant. Thanks, Luke. Does anybody else that's on the live have any more questions that they want to ask of Luke while we're here? Or forever hold your peace?
That's okay.
All right. Looks like you've covered quite a lot there, Luke. You covered the bases. So, look, thank you for sharing your wisdom. And it's great to see the practical application and the shift in technology and how this can be applied. I find it so interesting. And as you said, that some of the stories where people, it suddenly opens up a world for them where they can apply this information. And I have to also say, well done, Luke, because he's recovering from COVID. He didn't share that at the very beginning. So he's done really well to get through this and not collapse. So good on you, Luke, for navigating COVID as well.
Thanks, Barbara. I'll give you a 30-second story. Through the week, we onboarded a new videographer. And I was actually, while I was in bed, I sent him the onboarding videos. So this week now, when I meet him, he'll have already understood everything about our company and the values. So if you can train people from your, laying in bed, it's a pretty exciting system.
Yeah, that's great. It's like they say, making money on the beach, or, with passive income, you can now train people from your COVID sick bed. Yeah. So Simone's dropped some information in there as well. For those that are watching the recording, I'll make sure that I also have that information available to you, so that, but by all means, make sure you contact Luke and Simone at Multiply Me, or you can contact me and I can forward on their details. Connie's just said, thank you so much, Luke. This has been a really great session and really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you, everyone, for coming along and listening to my story and allowing me the stage to have a talk and take up some valuable time in your day. But please reach out now if this has struck a nerve with you, or you see value in this. We are 100% ready there to support you too. Thank you, Barbara. Thanks for the opportunity.